I beat a 7-year-old. Hi everyone, just a little update of my Coda recovery session. So it's almost a year now. It's coming very much up to a year since it, and it's more about my mental state just now because the healing process is very good. Still numbness, still some pain in the calf and the toe and the glute. Well, not pain, but just a weakness, I should say. Weakness, loss of strength, tightness in the muscles. Can't run, but can walk. And did a tiny little sprint where I beat my kid the other day for about 10 meters. Like, yeah, I can run again. So effectively back to 95%, but still permanently got that fear in the back of my head anytime I get out of the car and go, oh, got to turn my back, and every day being appreciative of the situation that I'm in. So here's a video which is a little bit different from the other ones. This one's definitely talking about, a lot of you have given me advice in the past saying that I am, where I was trying to say, I'm not going through depression. I don't have depression. I'm just a bit down. And I still believe that's all it is. It's just being a bit down. And I was trying to figure out why, and it just doesn't seem to make any sense. And is it just chemicals? Is it just the come down from the painkillers and drugs that I was on and all that stuff while I was going through the pain and all that kind of stuff? Is it just, reactions to all that kind of stuff? Is it a come down from the elation of suddenly not having pain and having my back fixed and all that kind of stuff? So there's a massive juggling act of trying to figure out where you are mentally with all this stuff. But just the last couple of days, about a couple of months back, I was like, I'm feeling really down. I don't know why. There's no point in it. It's just really weird. The winter's in now. It's dark. It's windy. It's cold. I should be more depressed than I was before, but I'm now starting to get motivated. I'm now, it may just be a phase, it may just be a little bit that I'm going through, but I'm now starting to kind of feel like I'm getting through to the other side of whatever it is that I need to get through to. And I just I just had a quick Google of stages of grief. I thought it's because somebody said that in one of my videos. It's like, oh, what are you going through? You're grieving. I was like, grieving? How can I be grieving? I'm happy. Everything's great. And I'll just show the 7 stages of grief. Shock and denial. This is a state of disbelief and numbed feelings. I didn't have that while I was going through the pain. I don't know, maybe. Pain and guilt. Yes and yes, I suppose. I did definitely have guilt for not feeling good or something. Anger and bargaining. I think I had that before I had this surgery. Pain of being in pain makes you angry, but bargaining was the trying to do anything to get the pain away. And then the depression. I was like, I don't have depression. I'm just a bit down. And depression is definitely something a bit longer here. But then it was just like the upward turn, and I was like, that just sums up exactly how I feel in just the last week. And then reconstruction and working through, and I was like, that is my upward turn. My upward turn is about how I'm going to reconstruct myself, and that's what I've been doing. So I've been going rock climbing with my kid. I've been going to the swimming things. I've been doing hill walks and stuff, and I did another hill walk the other day, and it was the first time I've done a full hill walk. Didn't need to stop. I didn't take my walking poles, so I didn't need my walking sticks. I went all the way up the hill, didn't stop once. I didn't stop once because of my leg. It was tight, it was sore, but I was like, I'm not stopping. Got all the way to the top, took some photos, I was like, this is great, and went all the way back down. So I was like, yeah, I've got my hill walking back again. And then had massive IT band issue afterwards because I clearly overdid it. But I was like, oh yes, I'm becoming a new me. It feels like, and with the rock climbing again, I'm far too fat to be able to do much rock climbing. But just going there and enjoying the bouldering and the tying of the knots and pulling my kid up the wall and stuff like that. That's developing the new me, as it were. And then the last one, acceptance and hope. And I think I've also had a real kind of like acceptance of just not caring about how fat and weak I am just now. so normally, like in my past videos, I've been really buff, really strong, really ripped, or massive, just like huge. And now, because I haven't done any weightlifting at all, not even lifting luggage bags, muscle has just wasted away, and belly has grown, and I've fully adopted dad bod, and I guess some of my anger and bargaining, my pain and my guilt was thinking that that's not me, that's not the body I should have. I should be able to focus on my diet and do my exercise and go out running and be motivated, and that's who I've always been. But I've kind of got to the acceptance point of going, not that anymore. That's not me anymore. Can't do it, so don't bother getting fed up about it. So that it's just, yeah, there's definitely an acceptance of just kind of going, dad bod is what it is, walking around holding my belly, just just not being disheartened by my feeble body shape that I have now. I just don't care. Which is not an apathetic, but it's not something which I'm being irritated by. So in other words, I'm like, yeah, I'll try and do some weight, and I'll try and do some exercise, and I'll go hill walking, I'll go cycling. But I'm not like, oh man, I've got rolls of flab. Oh no, this is terrible. I'm just like, yeah, a bit fat. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, I'm feeling good. And then when I was typed in this 7 stages of grief, I was like, that actually rings a bell a lot with how over a whole year of since my back surgery, it's like I've actually kind of gone through this. I'm sure it's probably not the same because it's not actual grief. It's kind of grieving for a previous me of who I used to be, rather than grieving of a lost dog or a lost family member or something like that. So it's obviously an internalized grieving about yourself in some sort of way. But yeah, the fact is there's the loss of who I was and who I was able to be before all this stuff. And then the first thing I did is like grief, instead of grief from loss or from a person or grief from a death or something, I typed in grief from injury, spelled injury wrong. First thing that comes up is spinalcord.com. I was like, oh, right. Yeah. So I was like, that's on point going on there. 5 coping stages after a traumatic event, and this was a good thing to have a read of this. There's denial. I've even had to. So this anger, this may occur at the same time as denial, but often comes afterwards when the individual has begun to realize what trauma they have experienced. And I suppose, I've got to think like, yeah, there was a kind of trauma from that, of going, I'm in pain, to point of going, I'm in total pain, to the point of being told, if you don't get surgery now, you might be completely bowel and bladder incontinent and be in a wheelchair. And then blue light ambulance to a hospital to get surgery in 24 hours, otherwise you're going to be paralyzed. I was like, okay, painkillers, morphine. I suppose the idea of trauma is something which I've got to realize is not just a car crash isn't trauma, a death isn't trauma. It's the trauma I guess can be something that happens over a day, a week. Maybe the trauma of that pain, that point where I couldn't even drive my car, I was in so much pain, couldn't put my foot down on the car, couldn't sit on my seat, because the pain of sitting in my seat is a form of elongated trauma that I was going through. And then it kind of went up and up and up until the point I was in a blue lighted ambulance. I suppose I've got to realize that was actual trauma of some sort, just not acute, more obtuse. Is that the word? So they're bargaining, depression, failed bargaining. Let's see any of the stuff here. people may, depending on the result of their traumatic injury, experience paralysis, kind of, yeah, or a similarly debilitating injury which they believe renders them useless or worthless. I suppose internally, yeah, just like, oh, I've lost the ability to be me. That old me is now useless. I can't be that guy that does all the weightlifting and goes out running and goes out cycling. Not being able to run is kind of useless to me. It isn't uncommon for people to want to be alone, yeah, and exhibit the typical symptoms of depression, yeah. During this time, it is more important than ever for the patient to receive love and support from their friends. There was a bit which I thought was when sometimes people around you, yeah, patients may be feeling shock, disbelief, or complete denial about their situation they have found themselves in. This is what may occur, may spur on anxiety-based agitation. Okay. They may experience such confusion that they enter a state of such denial that a person may shut themselves off from others to attempt to convince themselves they haven't experienced this trauma. Yeah. There was a bit here where it's like, sometimes your friends will try and help you along, and sometimes you're like, actually, just don't, because they've just got to go through it. Here. These are all reasonable and expected reactions, and nobody really knows how to react to a situation of traumatic experience, especially when it's happening to them. Many people feel weak when going through such a range of emotion. However, it is natural and, in fact, part of the healing process to actively experience all the painful emotions that come hand in hand with such traumatic injuries. Okay, so this is pretty good. How to deal? Yeah, just something. So maybe that's just something I just never kind of realized that I was experiencing, I was going through, and I suppose there was denial of realizing I was going through stages of grief. So yeah, I'm going to say I wasn't in depression. I didn't have depression. Maybe I'm still in denial there. But I was going through the depression stage of grief. And it wasn't like a depression outwardly. I wasn't to other people, I'm so sad and down. I'd literally be driving by myself going, everything's great. Everything's wonderful. I'm so down. You're just like, why am I so broken here? So yeah, that was a stage of grief rather than being depressed. Is how I'd like to put it there. I think going on there, but it was a stage of going through, and I think there's something which I've not heard anybody else talk about. Anyone only talks about the kind of physical side, the either being still in pain or the injury coming back or all that kind of stuff. So my experience hopefully will be of some interest to some other people there, where I'm still a little bit paralyzed, still like my glute doesn't work, my calf doesn't work, standing on my tiptoes doesn't really work. But I think sometimes there is a level of grief if going through this traumatic experience. I think that's probably the way that's elongated traumatic experience. There is possible definite psychological things that will have happened that you will also experience during this time, and being made aware of it is actually quite important, and also just to go through it. Like, don't hide yourself in booze and painkillers and more drugs after you've had it all. But yeah, you go through the stages. But yeah, I think I'm out of all the kind of downsides. I haven't really had them anymore. And as I say, it's not like I'm like, I can't get out of bed. I'm just like, it's like, I feel great. Everything's wonderful. Oh, why am I so down? Maybe it's winter. Maybe I'm having like the opposites of, what's it called? Seasonal affective disorder. Maybe I'm having the opposite of that. I'm like, it's winter time. I can stay inside and be fat and no one's going to care. It's great. But I'm also getting motivated now to to develop the new me. So is it going to be the rock climbing me? Is it going to be the new swimming me? Is it going to be the guy that does cold water swimming again? Or is it going to be like, I like literally, I was taking my kid to the swimming the other day, and we're in the car park, and I was like, first one to the wall wins. Run, 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 run. I was like, yeah, beat him. Beat a 7-year-old. I beat a 7-year-old. And, you know, we're talking about 20 meters. I was like, that was a proper run that I did there. Like, my calf is strong enough for me to run 20 meters, yes. And then I was like, while he was in swimming, I was in the changing rooms just kind of thinking, right, maybe this could be the year where I do a challenge again. Maybe I could do the, couch to 5K. I can do that, piece of cake. That's not a challenge. I'm thinking like couch to 100K in a week. So they're going to start from just now where I can't run to hopefully by the end of next year to be able to complete 100 kilometers of running in a period of a week. Because let's just go here. I'm not going to be an ultra runner in any sort of way, but I could be a determined runner. So I could do 14 kilometers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then that, I think that works out to 100 kilometers. So couch to 100K in a week. So it's not like, I started from couch and then 1 week later did 100 kilometers, but it's more I train. So that I think having these kind of goals, that's definitely something that gives me a little bit of focus, motivation going on there. So there you go. That's how it's been going. And definitely this, stages of grief from a traumatic injury is something that I kind of just realized that, that's what I went through.